is our pleasure to present Earl Nightingale, the man who devoted 20 years to the most penetrating research as to why people succeed or fail. This is a condensation of Mr. Nightingale's best, strangest secret. Now, Mr. Nightingale.
The purpose of this film is to permit me to share a few ideas with you, a few ideas I've picked up over the past 20 years or so about the most interesting creature in the world, the human being and the game he plays, the game called life. We all want to play this game well. I know you do, and I do, and our prospects and our customers do, our youngsters do. It's possible to play this game in such a fashion that we can go all through life going from one success to another, knowing the joy that comes from accomplishment, getting the things we want for ourselves and our families, if we learn just a few rules about this game. To my way of thinking, the story of a man's life is the story of a search, an odyssey. It's the most exciting thing, of course, that he can do. I believe that the happiest men in the world are those who know exactly what it is they seek and then devote their lives to making that come true. I think all men are dreamers, but I'm afraid that most men are content to pass off what they consider idle daydreaming and return to what we call the visible, well-marked path in life that they feel must be the best path because it carries the heaviest traffic. The point I want to make today is that the road in life with the heaviest traffic is not necessarily the right road to follow. And usually it's the wrong road to follow. Perhaps the best way to do this is to tell you a little bit about my own road. I spent more than 17 years looking for something that had been published in more than 50 million books, something that was older than the pyramids. It all started for me back in 1933, during the last Great Depression. As a boy of 12, I couldn't justify what I saw around me with what I'd been told. I had always been told that man was God's noblest creature and that he had dominion over the earth and all its creatures. And yet the people in my neighborhood didn't have dominion over a steady job. They were poor, yet there was plenty of money around. No one had buried it in 1929. They had no education, yet it was free and on every side of them. They had very little food, yet it was being raised in abundance all over the country. They lived in inadequate and ugly dwellings, yet there were beautiful homes for sale. Well, it was apparent to me that these people did not have the answer to the problem. They didn't have. As a group, the experts say they never have had. Why? I used to ask them, why are we caught in this depression, this fix we're in? A very human thing. It seems that whenever a human being doesn't know the answer to a problem, he blames other human beings. They blamed Wall Street or the Republicans or the Democrats or a minority group. They didn't know the answer. They repeated what they had heard and thought that would suffice. But that isn't enough. They looked everywhere for the answer except where it really was, within themselves. What I wanted to know was what separates the haves from the have-nots. Now, I don't mean that strictly in a financial sense. I mean in every possible way. Well, one night on the beach, I got an idea that has made my life exciting ever since. I decided that I'd find out what the secret to achievement was. I reasoned, as a boy will, that someone must have figured this thing out, and if he had, he'd have written in a book for other people to read. So I decided I'd take out a library card and just read right on through until I found the answer. But there was one thing that worried me a great deal. If the answer to achievement were known, why didn't everybody know about it, like the internal combustion engine or the airplane? Well, that bothered me, and it's bothered a great many people ever since. The answer's been given in our universities and from our pulpits, but it was given in a very dramatic fashion not too long ago. I think the answer was best given a few years ago when a reporter was interviewing a very great man in London. He was the Nobel Prize-winning Albert Schweitzer. The reporter asked the great man, "Doctor, what's wrong with men today?" The doctor thought for a moment, and then he replied, "Men don't think." And he was right. That's the problem today. That was the problem 400 years before Christ. It may always be the problem. Why don't men think? And we know the answer appears again and again in the great books. Why doesn't everyone know about it? Because about 95 or more percent of the people never read the great books. We know the answer appears over and over again in the Bible. Why doesn't everyone know it? Nobody reads the Bible. Everyone owns one because it's fashionable, like a set of Shakespeare. They don't read that either, and the answer's in there too. The answer appears in the public library on practically every shelf. Why doesn't everybody know about it? Because if you want to hide something from the American people, put it in a public library. They'll never find it. As a group, as a majority. Well, while it isn't absolutely necessary to have a good education in order to succeed, it's a pity not to obtain one since it's free and we're surrounded by it on every side. But we can still succeed without one if we know a few of these rules we're talking about.